The coffee spilled across his worn jeans as Tyler Dawson lunged to catch his 6-year-old daughter Emma, who was spinning precariously close to the edge of the playground. This was not how he had planned to start his Saturday morning, soaked in caffeine, with his one good pair of jeans now stained beyond salvation. But Emma's laughter as he swung her through the air made it impossible to stay frustrated. "Daddy, did you see me? I was spinning so fast." Emma exclaimed, her blonde pigtails bouncing with excitement. "Too fast, sweetheart. Remember what we talked about. Careful near the edges." Tyler set her down gently, assessing the damage to his clothes. The coffee stain spread across his thigh like a dark continent on a beige map. He had splurged on the coffee, a rare treat from the artisanal cafe that had recently opened in their working-class neighborhood. A single dad working 2 jobs to keep their modest apartment and provide for Emma didn't have many luxuries, but today was Emma's half-birthday, and they always celebrated the little things. "Can I go play on the swings now?" Emma asked, already bouncing on her toes. "Go ahead, but stay where I can see you," Tyler called after her as she raced toward the swing set. He slumped onto the nearby bench, dabbing at his jeans with a napkin that was quickly losing the battle against the coffee stain. "Rough morning." The voice was warm, amused without being condescending. Tyler looked up to see a woman settling onto the other end of his bench. She was striking not in the conventional way that would turn every head in a room, but in a quieter, more confident manner. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore expensive-looking running clothes that somehow managed to look elegant. "You could say that," Tyler replied, gesturing to his stained pants. "I'm down 1 good pair of jeans and 1 desperately needed cup of coffee." The woman smiled, and Tyler noticed how it transformed her face, lighting up her green eyes. "I'm Olivia, by the way, Olivia Emerson." "Tyler Dawson." He extended his hand, suddenly conscious of his calloused palm against her smooth one. "And that whirlwind on the swings is my daughter, Emma." "She's beautiful," Olivia said, watching as Emma pumped her legs, reaching for the sky with each swing. "How old is she?" 6 going on 16, Tyler laughed. "At least that's how it feels some days." Olivia's laugh joined his, and something about the sound made Tyler glance at her more closely. There was something vaguely familiar about her, but he couldn't place it. "Do you live around here?" he asked, genuinely curious. She seemed out of place in this neighborhood where most people wore second-hand clothes and drove cars that were more duct tape than metal. "I just moved into the renovated warehouse on Miller Street," Olivia answered. "I needed a change of scenery." Tyler tried not to show his surprise. The converted warehouse apartments were the most expensive properties in the area, a failed attempt at gentrification that had resulted in luxury lofts that most locals couldn't afford. They were rumored to have rooftop gardens and floor-to-ceiling windows. Change from what? He asked, then immediately backpedaled. "Sorry, that's probably too personal for a playground conversation." "Change from everything," Olivia said simply, not seeming to mind the question. "Too many people who wanted something from me, not enough who just wanted me." She turned to look at him directly. "What about you? Are you a Miller Street local?" "Born and raised," Tyler confirmed. "Though we're over on Elm, in the apartment complex behind the grocery store." He wasn't sure why he was being so specific. Perhaps it was because Olivia's gaze held no judgment, just genuine interest. "Daddy, watch me jump," Emma called out. Before Tyler could protest, his daughter launched herself from the swing at its apex, landing in a tumble of limbs and giggles. Tyler was on his feet instantly, heart in his throat. But Emma was already up, brushing wood chips from her knees and ready for her next adventure. "She's fearless," Olivia observed, standing beside him. "Takes after her mother," Tyler said softly, the words out before he could stop them. "Is she?" Olivia left the question hanging. "No longer in the picture," Tyler replied, keeping his eyes on Emma. "Left when Emma was 2, said motherhood wasn't what she'd signed up for. I'm sorry. Don't be, Emma and we make a good team." Tyler managed a smile. "What about you?" "Any kids?" No, Olivia shook her head. Never found the right time or the right person. My work always came first. What do you do? Tyler asked, genuinely curious. I run a tech company, Emerson Innovations. Olivia said it casually, as if it were no more remarkable than saying she worked at the local diner. Tyler nearly choked. Emerson Innovations was a household name, a pioneer in sustainable technology with offices around the world. Which meant Olivia wasn't just well off. She was wealthy beyond anything Tyler could comprehend. You're that Olivia Emerson? He asked, unable to keep the surprise from his voice. On my less impressive days, yes, she said with a self-deprecating smile. Is that going to make this conversation weird? Tyler considered the question. It should make things weird. After all, he was a maintenance worker by day and a bartender by night, standing next to a woman whose net worth was probably more than he'd earn in several lifetimes. Only if you start throwing around words like synergy and paradigm shift, he replied. Olivia's laugh was genuine and uninhibited. I promise to use only small words and avoid business jargon. In that case, we can continue being playground friends. Tyler grinned, surprised at how easy it was to talk to her. Daddy, I'm hungry, Emma called, running toward them, her face flushed with exertion. That's our cue, Tyler said, checking his watch. We've got a half-birthday pancake date at Molly's diner. Half-birthday? Olivia asked, eyebrow raised. Every 6 months deserves celebration when you're 6, Tyler explained. It was my mom's tradition. Find joy in the small moments, she always said. That's a beautiful tradition, Olivia said softly. Would you like to join us? The invitation surprised Tyler as much as it seemed to surprise Olivia. I mean, if you don't have any corporate empires to oversee this morning. Olivia hesitated, and for a moment, Tyler felt foolish for asking. Why would someone like her want to spend her Saturday morning in a greasy diner with a maintenance worker and his daughter? I'd love to, Olivia finally said. If Emma doesn't mind sharing her special breakfast. They both looked down at Emma, who was studying Olivia with unabashed curiosity. Do you like chocolate chip pancakes? Emma asked, the ultimate test of character in her 6-year-old world. They're my absolute favorite, Olivia answered solemnly. Then you can come, Emma declared, grabbing Olivia's hand with the easy trust of childhood. But Daddy has to pay because it's my half-birthday. Tyler felt his face heat up. Emma, I think that's fair, Olivia interrupted, smiling at him over Emma's head, but maybe I could treat for the next celebration. There was something in the way she said it, a suggestion that this wasn't just a one-time encounter that made Tyler's heart beat a little faster. Molly's Diner was a local institution, with vinyl booths worn smooth from decades of customers and a waitstaff who knew most people by name. The bell over the door announced their arrival, and Molly herself looked up from behind the counter. There's my favorite half-birthday girl, she called out, her gray hair escaping from its bun. Her gaze shifted to Olivia, and Tyler could see the curiosity in her eyes. They settled into a booth by the window, Emma insisting that Olivia sit next to her. So, what does a maintenance worker/bartender do on his days off? Olivia asked as they waited for their order. This, Tyler gestured to Emma, who was happily coloring the children's menu. Whatever makes her happy. Parks, libraries, free museum days when we can get tickets, and house repairs. Our apartment building isn't exactly the Ritz. He fixes everything, Emma piped up proudly. The toilet and the sink and Mrs. Peterson's door when it got stuck. Sounds like you're a man of many talents, Olivia said. Jack of all trades, master of none, Tyler shrugged. But it pays the bills mostly. What about you? What does a tech mogul do on her day off? Honestly, I can't remember the last full day off I took, Olivia admitted. Usually, I'm traveling or in meetings or putting out fires via phone. That sounds exhausting. It can be, Olivia agreed. But today I decided to take a walk in the neighborhood and ended up at the park. Lucky coincidence, Tyler said, meeting her eyes. I'm starting to think so, Olivia replied softly. Their pancakes arrived chocolate chip for Emma and Olivia, blueberry for Tyler. Conversation flowed surprisingly easily as they ate. Olivia asked Emma about school and listened to her elaborate descriptions of her best friend's hamster with genuine interest. She told them about growing up as an only child with parents who were rarely home and how she'd built her first computer at 12. "They thought I was going through a phase," Olivia recalled, "but I was determined to understand how everything worked." "Emma's the same way," Tyler said proudly, "always taking things apart to see what's inside." "I fixed Daddy's watch," Emma announced, chocolate smeared across her cheek. "It just needed a new battery, but Daddy didn't know how to open it." "I was afraid of breaking it," Tyler defended himself. "It was my grandfather's." "Smart and careful," Olivia noted, looking at Tyler. "Good combination." As they were finishing, Tyler excused himself to use the restroom. When he returned, he found Olivia and Emma deep in conversation, their heads bent together conspiratorially. "Should I be worried?" he asked, sliding back into the booth. "We were just discussing important girl business," Olivia said solemnly. "Very important," Emma nodded, eyes wide. When the check came, Tyler reached for it automatically, but Olivia was faster. "Please," she said quietly, "let me. It's my treat for being included in your special day." Tyler wanted to refuse. His pride told him to insist on paying, but the reality was that this meal represented a significant portion of his discretionary budget for the week. And something in Olivia's expression told him that her offer wasn't charity, it was genuine appreciation. "Thank you," he said finally. "Next time's on me." "Next time," Olivia echoed, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. As they left the diner, standing uncertainly on the sidewalk, Tyler found himself reluctant to say goodbye. "We're heading to the library," he said. "Emma has a reading challenge to complete." "I need 3 more books about animals," Emma explained importantly. "The library," Olivia repeated, as if it were an exotic destination. "I haven't been to a public library in years." "Would you like to come with us?" Tyler asked, surprised by how much he wanted her to say yes. "Fair warning, it involves a lot of whispering and possibly some puppet shows." Olivia glanced at her watch, a sleek, expensive-looking timepiece that probably cost more than Tyler's monthly rent then back at their expectant faces. "I wouldn't miss it," she said. The library was a welcome respite from the growing heat of the day. Emma immediately headed for the children's section, with Olivia and Tyler following at a more sedate pace. "I should warn you," Tyler said in a low voice. "Once she starts looking at books, we could be here for hours." "I don't mind," Olivia replied, and Tyler believed her. They settled into the small chairs in the children's area, knees almost touching as Emma brought book after book for their approval. Olivia seemed genuinely interested in each selection, asking Emma questions about her favorites and suggesting titles she remembered from her own childhood. Tyler found himself watching Olivia more than the books. There was something captivating about seeing someone so clearly successful and powerful sitting cross-legged on a child-sized chair, earnestly discussing the merits of different animal encyclopedias with a 6-year-old. "You're good with her," Tyler observed during a lull when Emma had wandered off to explore another shelf. "She makes it easy," Olivia said. "She's incredible, Tyler. Smart, curious, kind. You're doing an amazing job raising her." "I'm trying," Tyler said, the simple praise warming him more than he'd expected. "Some days are better than others." "That's parenting from what I've observed," Olivia said. "And life, really." Their conversation was interrupted by Emma's return with a stack of books that threatened to topple from her small arms. "I found them. Animal books," she announced proudly. The librarian, Mrs. Chen, helped Emma check out her selections, giving Tyler a curious look when she noticed Olivia. "New friend?" she asked quietly as she stamped the due date. "Something like that," Tyler replied, not quite sure himself what was happening. Outside the library, the afternoon sun was beginning to soften. Emma was already engrossed in one of her new books, walking slowly beside them. I should probably get going, Olivia said, though she made no move to leave. I have some calls to make. Of course, Tyler said, trying to hide his disappointment. Thank you for spending the day with us. It was unexpected, but really nice. It was the best day I've had in a long time, Olivia said, with such sincerity that Tyler felt something catch in his chest. Would it be okay if I called you sometime? Maybe we could do this again. Tyler was momentarily speechless. Was Olivia Emerson's CEO, Millionaire, woman who could literally have anything and anyone she wanted asking to see him again. I'd like that, he managed to say. They exchanged numbers, their fingers brushing as Olivia handed him her phone to input his contact information. Bye, Olivia, Emma said, looking up from her book long enough to wave enthusiastically. Thanks for coming to my half-birthday. Thank you for including me, Emma, Olivia replied, crouching down to the girl's level. It was the best half-birthday I've ever been to. As they watched Olivia walk away, Emma slipped her hand into Tyler's. I like her, Daddy, she said simply. Me too, sweetheart, Tyler admitted, feeling both excited and terrified by the possibility of what that might mean. Me too. The next morning, Tyler was elbow-deep in his apartment's ancient sink, trying to fix a persistent leak, when his phone chimed with a text. He wiped his hands on a nearby towel and checked the message, surprised to see Olivia's name. Still thinking about those chocolate chip pancakes. And the company. Free for dinner tonight? I know a place Emma might enjoy. Tyler stared at the message, a smile spreading across his face despite his efforts to remain cautious. This was moving fast, too fast, maybe. He barely knew Olivia. And she certainly didn't know what she was getting into with a single dad living paycheck to paycheck. Daddy, who's texting you? Is it Olivia? Emma asked, peering over his shoulder. Her excitement was contagious. Yes, it is. She wants to know if we want to have dinner with her tonight, Tyler explained. Yes, Emma exclaimed, jumping up and down. Can we go, please? Looking at his daughter's hopeful face, Tyler found it impossible to say no, and if he was being honest with himself, he didn't want to. There had been something about yesterday, something real in the way they'd connected that made him want to see where this might lead. We'd love to. Emma is especially excited. Where and when? He texted back. Olivia's response came almost immediately. Wonderful. How about Angelo's at 6? Nothing fancy, just good food. Tyler knew Angelo's, a family-owned Italian restaurant that was popular but not pretentious. It was the kind of place he might have chosen himself for a special occasion, which made him appreciate Olivia's suggestion even more. That evening, as they walked to the restaurant, a blessing since parking in the area was nearly impossible, Tyler found himself unusually nervous. He'd changed shirts 3 times before settling on a simple blue button-down that Emma assured him looked very handsome, Daddy. Do you think Olivia likes spaghetti? Emma asked, skipping beside him. I'm going to have spaghetti with extra meatballs. I'm sure she likes spaghetti, Tyler replied absently, his mind racing ahead to the evening. What did Olivia see in him? Would she regret this second meeting once she realized how different their lives were? Angelo's was warm and inviting, with checkered tablecloths and the rich aroma of garlic and tomato sauce. Olivia was already waiting at a corner table, looking slightly less polished than yesterday in jeans and a simple green blouse that brought out the color of her eyes. She stood when she saw them, her smile genuine and a little nervous, which somehow made Tyler feel better. You came, she said, as if she'd been half expecting them not to show. We came, Tyler confirmed, returning her smile. Dinner was a leisurely affair, with Emma entertaining them with stories from school and Olivia sharing tales of her travels that had both father and daughter wide-eyed. Tyler learned that Olivia had started her company in her garage with her college roommate, who had since moved on to another venture. He told her about his dreams of going back to school for engineering someday, when Emma was older and finances were more stable. You'd be an amazing engineer, Olivia said, her confidence in him both flattering and slightly uncomfortable. You already have the practical experience and problem-solving skills. Maybe someday, Tyler said, not wanting to dwell on dreams that seemed so far out of reach. Right now, Emma's education comes first. As Emma focused on her dessert, a massive slice of chocolate cake, Olivia leaned closer to Tyler. "Can I ask you something?" she said, her voice low enough that Emma wouldn't hear. "Sure," Tyler replied, though he felt a flutter of apprehension. "Why did you invite me to join you yesterday? At the park, I mean. You didn't know who I was then." Tyler considered the question. "I'm not entirely sure," he admitted. "Something about the way you talked to Emma, like you were really seeing her, not just humoring a kid. And the way you laughed, it seemed genuine. I guess I wanted to spend more time with someone who laughed like that." Olivia's eyes softened. "That's possibly the nicest thing anyone's said to me in a very long time." After dinner, they walked together through the neighborhood, Emma running ahead to examine interesting leaves and stones, always within Tyler's watchful sight. "I should tell you," Olivia said as they walked, "I've never dated anyone with a child before." The word dated hung in the air between them, making the evening suddenly feel more significant. "Is that what we're doing?" Tyler asked carefully. "Dating?" Olivia stopped walking, turning to face him. "I'd like to if you're interested, but I understand if you're hesitant." "Our lives are very different, and Emma has to be your priority." "She is," Tyler agreed. "And yes, our lives are different, drastically so. I fix toilets and pour drinks for a living, Olivia. You run a global company." "And yet here we are, having one of the best conversations I've had in years," Olivia said. "I know it's fast and probably crazy, but there's something here, Tyler. I felt it yesterday, and I feel it even more tonight." Tyler really looked at her. Beyond the wealth and success, he saw a woman who was intelligent, kind, and somehow lonely despite all she'd achieved. He felt it too, this unexpected connection that defied logical explanation. "I'm interested," he said finally, "but I need you to understand that Emma will always come first. And I'm not looking for someone to solve my financial problems." "I would never presume to," Olivia said, her expression serious. "And I respect that Emma is your priority. She should be. I just want a chance to see where this might go." Their conversation was interrupted by Emma's return, clutching a dandelion gone to seed. "Look what I found. Make a wish, Daddy." Tyler took the fluffy white weed, closing his eyes briefly before blowing. The seeds scattered into the evening air, catching the golden light of sunset. "What did you wish for?" Emma asked. "Can't tell or it won't come true," Tyler replied, ruffling her hair. But as he looked at Olivia, he wondered if perhaps his wish was already coming true in ways he never could have imagined. The weeks that followed fell into a pattern that was both unexpected and increasingly comfortable. Olivia joined them for weekend adventures, trips to the zoo, picnics in the park, movie nights in Tyler's modest apartment, where she seemed perfectly content on his second-hand couch. They discovered shared interests, a love of science fiction books, a preference for savory over sweet, a competitive streak that emerged during board games. They also navigated their differences with growing understanding. Tyler learned that Olivia's work ethic stemmed from parents who had valued achievement above all else. Olivia came to appreciate Tyler's practical approach to life, his ability to find joy in small moments despite financial constraints. Emma, initially charmed by Olivia's attention, grew genuinely attached to her. They developed their own rituals, Olivia helping with math homework, sharing books they both loved, secret handshakes that made Tyler smile even as he pretended to be jealous of their bond. But the differences in their circumstances couldn't be entirely ignored. Tyler noticed the way people stared when Olivia arrived at Emma's school fair in her luxury car. He overheard whispers at the neighborhood playground, speculation about what a woman like her was doing with someone like him. And then there was the issue of money. Tyler steadfastly refused to let Olivia pay for everything, despite knowing how easily she could. This led to their first real argument one evening after Emma had gone to bed. I just want to help, Olivia said, frustrated after Tyler had declined her offer to pay for Emma's upcoming school trip. It's nothing to me, Tyler, and I know you've been picking up extra shifts to cover it. That's exactly the point, Tyler replied, trying to keep his voice down. It's nothing to you, but everything to me. My pride, my responsibility as her father. Pride won't give Emma opportunities, Olivia countered. And money isn't the only thing that matters, Tyler shot back, immediately regretting his tone when he saw the hurt flash across Olivia's face. I never said it was, she said quietly. But refusing help that's freely offered isn't always about integrity, Tyler. Sometimes it's about fear. What am I afraid of then? Tyler challenged. That if you accept anything from me, it changes what we have. That somehow it makes you less in this relationship, Olivia said, cutting to the heart of his insecurities with unsettling accuracy. But that's not how I see you, Tyler. Not at all. They reached a compromise. Eventually, Olivia would contribute to a college fund for Emma, but day-to-day expenses remained Tyler's responsibility. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start at navigating the complex intersection of pride, love, and vastly different financial realities. As summer turned to fall, their relationship deepened. Olivia began leaving clothes at Tyler's apartment, and he grew familiar with the security protocols at her building. Emma started referring to Olivia as my Olivia when talking to friends at school. It was on a crisp October evening, nearly 6 months after their first meeting, that everything changed. They were at Olivia's loft, Emma already asleep in the guest room that had gradually accumulated her toys and books. Tyler stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city lights, when Olivia joined him with 2 glasses of wine. "Penny for your thoughts?" she asked, handing him a glass. "Just thinking about how much has changed since that day at the playground," Tyler said, accepting the wine. "If you had told me then that we'd be here now." "You wouldn't have believed it," Olivia finished for him. "I wouldn't have dared to hope for it," Tyler corrected. "You've brought so much into our lives, Olivia, not just things, but joy and possibilities I'd stopped believing in." Olivia set down her glass, turning to face him fully. "I need to tell you something, and I'm not sure how." Tyler felt a flutter of apprehension. Was this it? Had she finally realized that their worlds were too different, that he wasn't enough? "I've been offered a position in Seattle," Olivia said, watching his face carefully. "The board wants me to oversee our new sustainability division there. It would mean relocating, at least for a year, possibly longer." Tyler felt the floor shift beneath him. He'd known from the beginning that Olivia's life was different, more expansive, less tied to a single place, but the reality of what that meant hit him with full force. "When would you leave?" he asked, his voice sounding distant to his own ears. "That's the thing," Olivia said, taking his hands in hers. "I haven't accepted yet. I wanted to talk to you first, to see if there's a possibility that you and Emma might consider coming with me." Tyler stared at her, stunned. "To Seattle?" "But our lives are here, Emma's school, my jobs, our apartment." "I know it's a lot to ask," Olivia acknowledged, "and I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't think it could work. There are excellent schools there, and you could finish your engineering degree. The University of Washington has an outstanding program. And She hesitated, then continued with newfound determination. "I love you, Tyler. I love Emma. The thought of being separated from you both is unbearable." It was the first time either of them had said those words, and they hung in the air between them, momentous and transformative. "You love us," Tyler repeated, his heart racing. "More than I thought possible," Olivia confirmed, her eyes never leaving his. "Enough to completely reorganize my life around the possibility of a future with you both, if that's what you want too." Tyler pulled her close, his mind whirling with implications and possibilities. "I love you too," he said against her hair, "but Seattle, it's a huge change." "I'd need time to think to talk to Emma." "Of course," Olivia agreed immediately. "Take all the time you need. The offer doesn't expire for a few weeks, and even then, there's flexibility in the timeline." They spent the rest of the evening discussing what such a move might look like, the practical details of schools and housing and jobs, but also the emotional landscape of uprooting a child and starting fresh in a new city. The next morning, Tyler took Emma to the park, the same one where he'd first met Olivia. As Emma played, he sat on that familiar bench, thinking about the extraordinary turn his life had taken. "Daddy, why are you looking so serious?" Emma asked, coming to sit beside him during a break from the swings. "I'm thinking about something important," Tyler explained. "How would you feel about moving to a different city?" Emma considered this with the gravity of a child contemplating a major life decision. "Would you be there?" "And Olivia?" "Yes, we would both be there," Tyler assured her. "Then I'd like it," Emma declared with the simple confidence of childhood, "as long as we're together." It wasn't quite that simple, of course. There were logistics to navigate, goodbyes to say, arrangements to make. But 3 months later, Tyler found himself standing in the middle of a spacious Seattle apartment, surrounded by moving boxes, watching the rain fall softly over Puget Sound. Emma was already enrolled in a school with an excellent science program, her initial nervousness giving way to excitement about new friends and opportunities. Tyler had applied to the engineering program at the University of Washington, supported by glowing recommendations from Olivia's industry contacts. And though he'd insisted on maintaining his independence by taking a part-time position at a local renovation company, he allowed himself to accept the gift of time that Olivia's support had given him, time to study, to be present for Emma, to build something meaningful for their future. Olivia joined him at the window, slipping her arm around his waist. "Having second thoughts?" she asked, sensing his reflective mood. "No," Tyler said honestly. "Just marveling at how we got here. One spilled coffee, one playground meeting, and somehow it led to this." "This is just the beginning," Olivia said, resting her head against his shoulder. "We have so much ahead of us." And they did. The years that followed brought challenges, as all relationships do adjustments to new roles and responsibilities, learning to blend their different approaches to life and parenting. But they also brought profound joy. Tyler completed his engineering degree with honors and joined a firm specializing in sustainable building technologies, his practical experience proving invaluable in his new career. Emma thrived in Seattle, her natural curiosity nurtured by both her father's grounded wisdom and Olivia's expansive vision of what was possible. And on Emma's 10th birthday, a full birthday, not a half, they gathered on the rooftop garden of their home, surrounded by friends both old and new. As Emma blew out her candles, Tyler caught Olivia's eye across the table. Without words, they shared the same thought. How fortunate they were that a chance meeting had led to this moment, this family they had built together. Later that night, after Emma was asleep and the dishes were done, Olivia found Tyler on their balcony, looking at the stars. "4 years ago today, I asked you to take a chance on a completely different life," she said, joining him. "Any regrets?" Tyler turned to her, this extraordinary woman who had appended his world in the best possible way. "Only one," he said solemnly. Olivia raised an eyebrow, waiting. "I should have bought 2 coffees that day at the park," Tyler said with a grin. "Then I wouldn't have spilled the first one." "If you hadn't spilled it, I might never have had an excuse to talk to you," Olivia pointed out, laughing. "True," Tyler acknowledged. "In that case, I regret nothing." As they stood together under the Seattle sky, Tyler reflected on the unlikely path that had brought them here, a millionaire and a struggling single dad. 2 people from worlds that rarely intersected, who had somehow found everything they needed in each other. Neither of them could have predicted, on that ordinary Saturday morning, that they were meeting the person they would spend their lives loving. But sometimes, Tyler thought, the best journeys begin with unexpected detours and spilled coffee. And as Olivia leaned her head against his shoulder, her hand finding his in the darkness, Tyler knew with absolute certainty that this was where they were always meant to be together, building a future neither of them could have imagined alone.